good and keep my mouth shut while you shoot this next video. I really like being on your videos, Wendy. Am I famous yet? Am I really famous? Can I come out and walk on your hand and eat your watch? I don't think so. We have airplanes to build. Here's about airplanes. I can fly without an airplane. Go shoot your video. I'll be good. I won't yap at all.
Freddie, he's finally going back to his mommy Nancy. Anyway, I got a question today in the mail. This blew me away, and I figured it's something, this would be a good thing to put on the video. Kind of generic information, but it really applies to, well, I shouldn't even name the name out of fear of being embarrassed, but let me tell you this story, and this is absolutely true. This is not made up. Now, without mentioning names, again, I think that might be appropriate. Guy buys a Brodak Cardinal kit, has the motor. We talk through the whole construction phase about different little tricks for building it. He's ready to go fly it. Goes out the first day to fly it, calls me up from the field on his cell phone, panic-stricken. This plane is a piece of junk. It's terrible. It this, it that. It has no line tension anywhere. I said, oh, well, we sat down. I start talking through the things that might be wrong. And I said, well, what lines are you flying on? And he says, 60-foot lines. Okay, well, I just skipped over that and we went into other things. And what had happened in the course of the conversation, I said, who'd you buy these lines from? You know, and Kent Tyser, Tom Morris, Brodak, they all know about, well, he bought it from somebody else. We won't mention names. Again, we're not in the business of bad-mouthing people. He bought lines from another supplier. The lines say 60 feet. When he unrolled the lines, they were 78 feet from eyelet to eyelet. That doesn't mean center of the plane. From here to here was 78 feet on a roll of lines that was marked. Now, I know what happened because I've seen this before. George Higgins had this saying. They get to the end of a roll when they're making some lines, and maybe, who knows if what's going on or if somebody's not having a good day or what, and 78 feet. Well, he never noticed in the course of setting up the plane, I guess you're real excited, that he wasn't even near the middle of the circle during the flight. Friends were screaming at him, telling him to back up, telling him to come forward. Well, we had a real long conversation about it, and I thought this would be good information. This is the kind of information, I don't know why, you never see it in a magazine. Where it should be, you never see it. It's basic information, basic. So the first part of basic information, step one, is you need to know how to measure the lines. You do not measure the eyelet to the eyelet. The line itself is an irrelevant number. You need to know the middle of the plane to the middle of the handle. This is the dimension that's critical. And in no case, for any reason at all, should that be more than 70 feet. Now, there should be, you could sneak by a couple extra inches. I think the rule is 70 feet, 6.5 inches or something. But for all practical purposes, 70 feet is it. So when you're doing this, the first thing is you're illegal. You're probably not covered by insurance, number one. And since the fellow in question was relatively new, I think he was embarrassed, and well, I don't know, and that's why I'm not mentioning his name. But anyway, what I did, I made a couple of suggestions. He followed through on them. Now, I thought what would be good information, we could start at the back of this and work our way down. Since most of the planes we fly are what's known as full-size planes, 60-65 ships, you would assume, and you would be assuming incorrectly, that all of these ships fly on 70-foot lines. Well, that's not really true. Many ships fly better on shorter lines, and this is the point I'm getting to, a very valid point. And I would just be going down to 60, maybe 7 feet here. Now I know Ted Fancher, the last time he won the Nats, was flying relatively short lines. This year, Paul Walker, when he won the Nats, flying relatively short lines. Definitely not 70 feet. So there's a quick point I wanted to make as we start this little infomercial. Not everybody uses full-length lines. Just because you have a 60 or a 65 certainly doesn't mean you're going to be on full-length lines. You try to trim the lines to get the optimum performance, and I'm going to get into that when we get through with this little piece of information. Now, what I found, like with my Jet 50, when I had the 50, maybe the 46, this would tend to be 65s would probably be realistic here. Again, I'm not sure. And this is certainly not Bible, but and this is feet, not inches, dummy. So, but what I'm getting at, I want to show the relationship real quickly. Now, with a 40, 35, I remember clearly 60 to 65. 35s being favoring the 60, 40s favoring 65. Maybe not always even. Now, this would take into account today's modern motors. Older 40s might not be happy. They might be happier on 62-foot lines. And remember, it's the center of the handle, the center of the fuse, not the length of the lines. Now, 015s and half A's, I don't have a lot of experience with, so I'm just going to leave that blank since most people would do that. A good person here is Lou Walgast. Another person who really knows is Jim Lee. These are people that could probably help you a lot more than I can. But I can be of some help right in this area right here. And there's a real valid point here. Because what you notice when you look at the chart is that every motor size seems to just incrementally have a range where it's happy. And the thing that would be wrong would be, and there's probably exceptions to the rule, but the exceptions aren't that not every time. You wouldn't want to take a 35 ship and put it right on 70-foot lines. Probably have trouble trimming the plane. And you wouldn't want to take a 65 Rojet plane and put it on 65-foot lines. Both of those would be difficult to deal with. Now, most of us have a way that we trim most of our planes or all of our planes, but some of the general trends that I've found, and these are not exception proof, they have exceptions, but in general, a general rule would be a heavier ship, let's say it was a couple ounces overweight, would benefit from having longer lines. Now, let's say in the case of a 46 ship that was a little heavy, you'd be thinking about going to a little bit longer lines. Well, it's usually the opposite. If you favor shorter lines, a lighter ship where there isn't as much line tension, might be a benefit to have a little bit shorter lines. You'd really like to try to evaluate if your ship is overpowered. Let's say you have a 60-ounce an impact with a 65 Rojet. Well, that's overpowered. You got plenty of power. You're probably going to want to be on longer lines. Let's say, for instance, you have a Nobler, and it came out a little on the heavy side to start with, and the motor you choose is a traditional Fox 35. It might be a little underpowered. Well, you might want to go to shorter lines. And just as an example, I remember Bob Gieske telling me he always flew on lines that were about 2 feet shorter, somewhere around 58 feet, when he had all the years with his Fox 35. So that might be good information too to know. Now this part might be a little controversial, but this is how I feel the information I've learned over the years has panned out. Equal panel planes seem to carry a little bit more tip weight and always seem to pull longer lines. Unequal planes tend to, if all else is equal, with less tip weight, wind up on a little bit shorter lines. Not always, but a general trend. So you can start to see where your plane would fit in, and then where, if you're starting out trimming a plane and cutting a set of lines, you at least have a start. Or if you're going to have Kent Tyser or Tom Morris or somebody make lines, you don't want to have them make 10 sets of lines before you get it right. Now this is where a lot of people really find something that works for them when they go to a bigger propeller. Typically a bigger prop will pull a foot or two more lines. A smaller prop will tend to get soft on top. So let's say an example is on your Rojet 65. If you're pulling a 12-inch prop and you go to a 12.5 or a 13, might be able to make the lines longer. This is the one most people either overlook, underlook, or don't even look at all. In the winter, where we've been flying in some of these cold days lately, you could pull 80-foot lines because the motor's making more power, the wing's making more lift, there's oxygen in the air. In the summer, that oxygen diminishes and gets replaced by moisture. Usually, I remember Bob Barron many times getting to the Nats, taking a few flights, and the first thing, because it was a lot hotter than where he was practicing, right away cut 2 feet off the lines to get the plane in trim. So if you just look at this real quick, these are just basic trends. It's not an always, but it gets you pointed in the right direction. And I think it's information that can save you from having to cut or make many sets of lines or just be frustrated at the flying field. Now, what are some of the limiting factors that I've found in cutting up a set of lines? What limits it? Why can't 35 size ships fly on 70-foot lines? Now, the real limiting factor in everything that we do in control line, the limiting factor is how much line tension you're pulling. If the plane loses line tension, that's the limiting factor. Otherwise, you wouldn't have any tip weight. But let's say, just so this makes sense, you add tip weight, you get more line tension. Yeah, can go a little bit longer on the lines, a little bit longer, but there's going to be a point. The point is when this drops a wingtip. That's your limiting factor. A Nobler won't carry 6 ounces of tip weight. It'll drop a tip, shake a tip, it'll rock. So there's understanding the limiting factor. When you have all the tip weight in the plane and it's dropping a tip, you're at the limit. You can't add more reasonably within reasonable parameters of trim and get more performance. The second thing is you can add, and you can see the Chinese world champion teams, they have 6 or 7 degrees of motor offset. That'll increase line tension to a point, but there's a limit too. You can't put the motor sideways or the plane won't go forward. There's limits to everything, the motor offset. Taping the hinge line shut allows you to carry a little more tip weight. Having an equal panel plane allows you to carry more tip weight. Having an Al Raby type of rudder where it kicks out on outside maneuvers allows for more line tension in outside maneuvers. But every one of these things has a limiting factor. So what typically happens is you do all of these things and the limiting factor at some point in time, let's say you're on 60-foot lines, just to make this as a Brodak Cardinal, and you've got as much tip weight as the plane will carry, and you've got 2 degrees of motor offset, you've got a little bit of rudder offset, the lead out's an inch back from the CG. Well, the limiting factor now is going to be the 60-foot lines. So what's going to happen if you go to let's say you go to 65, just make a radical example up, and the plane loses tension. Well, then you're going to have to go back and maybe try 63, but at some point it'll be solid in the whole flight. And then you know that's the limiting factor. It isn't like any of these have a one-dimension answer to everything. Like, let's just fire up that Gieske Nobler, put in a Rojet 65, 4 ounces of tip weight, and fly on 100-foot lines. You're always looking for the combination of things. The combination of how much tip weight the plane will carry is a major factor in determining, and the motor offset, the rudder offset, but there's going to be a limit. And a lot of people fly on lines that are too long, have too much tip weight, too much offsets, and the plane is not at its peak performance. And sometimes, if money and time were no object, the best way to do this would be to constantly have let's just pretend this is a Brodak Cardinal. A 65 foot, a 64, a 63, a 62, and a 61, and a 60. 6 sets of lines. Get Ken Tyser busy. Now you could go out to the field on any given day, and you want to do this on a windy day, not on a perfectly calm day, and find out at what, maybe at 62 feet it starts getting soft, and at 64 it gets horrendous. Well, maybe then what you want to do is settle in on 61 foot lines. Other times that I've seen people do this at the field, I've seen people make the lines purposely too long and then cut 1 foot at a time off. Trouble is, this gets really labor intensive. Now, if you're going to fly the same set of planes over and over, if you're going to build Cardinal, 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 or Noble, 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 whatever, you could then justify having 5 or 6 sets of lines, finding that optimum line length. But the best thing of all is to realize that you just can't have an infinitely long, even a national champion might have to compromise line length to get the maximum performance. And you never know if maximum performance is going to be, it's not always going to be on the longest lines, it's not always going to be on the shortest. What you're trying to find is that optimum where it holds tension in the wind and where you're very comfortable with the plane, has tension in the overhead maneuvers, and yet it's not inordinately short unnecessarily, or else if that were the case, everybody'd be on 50-foot lines. What you're trying, it's like buying a pair of shoes. You want them not too tight and not too loose, not too tight, and you want to find them that they're just comfortable for you. And so all this information about lines, and I hope nobody, George Higgins was at our field one year, I don't remember the 82, 83, and he whipped out that set of 85-foot lines and just scared the hell out of everybody on a circle, and then measured them and found out they were 85 feet. Well, we had a repeat performance. I hope this kind of helps people get a feel for how to go about figuring what lines should be on the plane. Now, here's my opinion after watching many people struggle with this dilemma over the years. Any plane, this is by AMA rules, which are not, in my opinion, not really a good representation of what's really happening, but the rules are probably 50 years old, and there's politics involved, so you never can even try to change the rules. But anyway, reality sets in. If you have a plane powered by anything up to and including a 40, your choices are, you can use 015 braids, 014 solids. I have seen in the course of my flying time many people crash a plane on 012 solids, and I don't recommend anybody use them. I don't even use them on a half A. On 41 to 65s, you need to fly 018 braids or 014 solids. Now, here's the point. The point is a plane that's line limited. In other words, let's pretend that we have a plane here. Let's make this a Nobler, and it's powered by a 40. And because of the way the trim is and the way the plane is set up, it really only will carry about 57 feet of line. Well, let's pretend that was the number. And we really would be a lot more comfortable on 60. Things get really fast under 58 feet. We'd like to add to the line length. How can we do it? Well, it's easy. We can go from braids to solids and just pay the price of wiping them off with isopropyl alcohol. Now, a lot of people don't like to fly braids. They don't like to do the maintenance, and if you don't do the maintenance, they'll stick. They may stick in humid weather. If you're flying in a very humid area, may not be the material of choice. But what happens on the bigger planes, these two sets of lines can usually be about, you can make, let's just make a number up. This could be 68 feet. This could be 70. About 2 feet difference. And you don't have to retrim the plane. You can just make a set of braids, put a handle on, put the same exact handle, and you'll find out that you can get away with about 2 feet extra line by using solids. So if you've built a plane that's that its limiting factors are limiting it to 67 or 68 feet, you can go right to solids. If you have a plane that's already pulling 70-foot 018s, you may not want to. But this gives you the choice. Just remember, if you do decide to use solids, there's two different kinds of solid wire. There's the commercial kind that you buy over the counter, and there's medical grade wire that doesn't corrode. So the medical grade wire is about 5 times the price. So if you're buying inexpensive wire, you're going to wind up replacing it more often. You really want to have medical grade wire if you want to have the minimum amount of maintenance and the minimum amount of chance that anything's ever going to stick. And they only sell medical grade wire in 500-foot rolls. So you really have to commit to really 4 sets of lines and 4 big line reels if you want to get set up properly with a year's supply of solid wire. But anyway, beside the point, and I would really highly recommend nobody, if I wish I could make a list of how many guys have said, well, I'm going to use 012 solids. Well, buy 1,000 feet of it or whatever, and years ago they would just go in like cupcakes. The wind would kick up, somebody'd step on them, and we hate to see anybody lose a plane. Anyway, my best information gathered from 51 years of doing this. I hope it helps everybody, and I hope it, there's always counterpoints to this. There's always a different way to pull a Ted or somebody, or Gieske, or somebody has figured out their way of doing it. I can only tell you what my way is, and only say that this is what's worked for me over the years to develop and enjoy the planes that I've built in the last 51 years. Now in today's mail, and I really was looking forward to seeing this is our good friend from Florida, Toby Acerno. Now, this is the kind of stuff you can't make up. Toby said, the original, he's got a Smoothie and a T-Bird. The originals died a horrible death, and I know exactly what he's talking about. And he's built both of these using windy controls, bulletproof bell cranks, 1/8-inch horns, and 60-foot lines. Hey, Toby, okay. And believe it or not, we did talk about the line length last time we talked. That's good information, by the way, that line length thing. Both are powered by Vico 35s. Anyway, Toby's into nostalgia. He built these both from Brodak kits. I'm going to tell you a quick story about Toby. Now, Warren Walker usually sends us pickles in the mail. Toby decided, he bought me some, I don't remember if it really was pickles, but it was some food stuff, some hot pickles or something. And he put them in an ice box, and it arrived on a day that it was raining. And the doorbell rang. You can't make this stuff up. The doorbell rings, and my mailman is out there covered from head to toe with, looked like pickle juice or something. Well, what had happened? He was climbing up the stairs, carrying his pack, a giant box with 100 pickles in it, juice and glass jars, and he dropped it. So he basically was apologizing for breaking all the stuff, and I said, well, you know, no problem. We'll see you in court, no problem. But the funny thing was, when I told Toby, he thought it was really cool. And anyway, in the meantime, the mailman, every time I see him, we have a good laugh about it. Anyway, from Toby Acerno, we'll pass these on to Pampa, and tomorrow is our belated trip out to Jimmy Borelli's to see Bob Lampione, Mike Rogers, and the whole crew. See the new ships they're working on. I'm really looking forward to it. And we're out at Jim Borelli's, and his daughter, as you know, if you've been following Windy videos over the years, you've seen her become a fine young lady, a fine specimen of a... Oh, there she is! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! How old were you here, Lena?
I don't know.
Baby Lena! Well, this is
Help you making this a Victoria.
Wow!
This is magnificent.
Yeah, look at what they're doing to this house. I love the dumpster. That looks so nice in front of the house.
No, but
they're putting a porch on.
What do you think?
Look at this, hardwood.
Yeah, it's going to be...
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm not going outside because it's pouring. We made this trip in a pouring rain, but boy, this is going to look great, Debbie.
Yeah.
Great.
Can't wait. That's Jimmy's new room.
Jimmy's going to be sleeping out
I
here.
can't believe through all of this your lawn is gorgeous.
Yeah, you should see how terrible our lawn is.
God, but he sees always he's going
Lena, how old are you now?
7.
7. Going on 15?
No.
You got any new stuff to show me?
Oh, yeah. Now you're talking. I need to write it down.
Have you that? A maze book?
My mom.
Well, we have a birthday present for you, too, now that you're 15.
I'm not.
You're going to be sorry you missed all those birthdays in
I'm
between.
not 15.
This used to be Jimmy's modeling room. Oh, baby fish. Why didn't you tell me? I would have brought you some babies. My fish just had babies.
They did?
Oh, my God, you got nice little fish.
They're really cute.
Yeah.
Now, when you come to my house, you bring a little bucket and we'll have some. I have baby fish. They're only about this big.
Do you want me to tell you the names of my fish?
Will you put them right? You tell you the names. Oh, my.
This is Jasmine.
Jasmine?
This is Brittany. This is Melina. And this is Gabby. That one's Gabby.
And who's this on the wall? Look at this. You look like a teenager.
Brittany.
Who has the pictures of the Dixie Chicks? No Dixie Chicks here? They got shot down, huh?
Ashley.
Oh, my
The
God.
Powerpuff Girls. And a
Influence of her father. Look at this. She's got her own model airplane collection.
Whoa, there he is. I have two.
The James! Hey!
I have two more of these. I have two more of the little ones, but I can't find the other two of the little ones. This is called the Kana, and this is called the Army Plane.
Okay, it's been a year since we've been down to the Lampione Borelli workshop. Let's see what's new down here.
Well, we haven't gotten too much further.
Wow! It's just like it was a year ago. Oh, my God.
Actually,
Hey, this came out nice.
This came out beautiful.
Yeah,
Take a look at my plane.
very cute.
Like my plane?
What kind of electric sets did you use? Regular ones?
Yeah.
They don't make any decent ones anymore. Man,
Dad.
that looks nice.
They are expensive. He said they were 20
Daddy,
bucks a
from right
sheet.
here, does it have any spots on it?
No.
Tell them to buff it out again. It looks like it's getting a little dusty.
Yeah, it's only 20 years old.
Tell the world that that's your airplane that you built.
I didn't build it.
Oh, you did?
Don't worry about the builder of the model rule. There is none anymore. This event's moving on. Let's see what else you got cooking down here. Hey, Joey, baby.
His little Joe.
The late Joe Ortiz, boy, in a place of honor. And, of course, Paul Walker's here in infamy. Is that cool or what? Everybody should have a B-17 in their shop. Very cool, very cool. Is this one of Walter's kits down here?
Yeah.
Let's see what it looks like. I never saw one of his things. You'd think that Cheapo would send me one to review.
That's the big Mathis Excalibur.
Yeah, let's see what it looks like. I never saw that. Anybody looking to buy a kit? Walter's making kits. Everybody's making kits nowadays. It's a world of kit. I heard they're making a Gieske Nova that's already built. You can buy it already built.
No, it's a laser cutter. Bobby has one.
I should know he has one.
Also with a Rojet 40.
Oh, yeah.
I bought the combination.
Oh.
Sure.
So this is Walter's kits? Okay.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful job, I tell you.
Roll the plans out. Let's see what it looks like. I talked to him about this. He was annoyed that somebody said it wasn't classic legal or something.
Why not?
I thought it was great.
Yeah, he was upset about it. Yeah, that looks pretty nice.
Classic legal to me.
Yeah,
Nice, huh?
pretty good.
Yeah. Cool looking profile.
Well, who's the guy who had one, the guy from Massachusetts who had one down in
Yeah.
on stick?
He
actually crashed it.
Yeah, the guy with the thin wheels.
Bayer, was it?
I can't think of his name. The guy with the thin wheels, made wooden wheels.
Those were cool wheels.
Yeah.
This make a nice looking built-up stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that, guys.
So what else is in the kit? Let's see what the wood looks like. Everything looks. This is laser cut or
No, this is hand cut.
hand cut? That looks pretty nice.
These are doubles.
Yeah, that looks real good.
Oh, that's it.
How much do you get for these kits?
This one is 95, I think.
Yeah, he's doing a nice job.
Yeah, now Walter,
95, 98, something.
Walter tries to do a good job. That's hardware in it.
That bomber is funny, eh?
The bomber's going wild over here. It's 30 seconds over Paul Walker's house here. That is wild. You just never know what you're going to see in Lampione's house and Burley's house. Anyway, that is cool. Definitely cool. So what's going on with this guy? This guy's not done yet. He wasn't done last time I was here. How can that be, Jim? Bobby's kind of getting slow on production here.
It's taking a while.
This looks real nice, though. Look at the finish on this.
Yeah, that's a nice...
Nicely buffed. Oh,
In there.
nice colors. Miss Ashley Red.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
Oh, you noticed it was Miss Ashley.
You bet. You bet. This is nice with the sparkles up here. Did Baby Lena put those sparkles in there, or is
That was her idea.
Oh, yeah, that looks good.
I'm ready.
That looks good, Jim. What else is cool? This is Jimmy. Anybody who might not have known, Jimmy's first. Is this the first one? No, it isn't. It's the second one. The Misty series. Front row at the Nats. Oh, that's cool. This man's full of awards.
Former buddy.
Yeah, it is my buddies. I have this picture in my shop called Murderer's Row. Look at Mike Rogers. He looks like he's got a toothache. Wes McDonald's playing. I remember this.
The Arizona boys.
Yeah, I remember that picture.
Ordinary talk show host. I'm not a guy who was a disc jockey who got lucky.
Very cute.
Joey flying.
Yeah.
He sent me those pictures.
Yeah, cool.
I'm damn proud that I worked real hard.
What do we got? Oh, this one I remember seeing. Rudy Midgley.
I have an established track record in this field.
You know, when it comes down to it, Jimmy, I guess we had a pretty good life when you look at all of it.
Can't complain. That's for sure.
Now, Bob, a lot of people have asked me to ask you this. How many watches do you have? Here's a man. He's got a watch. This is a
I can't even say
He's got a watch collection of 50 watches. Keep in mind, Bobby really.
34.
Bobby's the heir to the Seiko fortune, I think. So how could you have 50 watches and not know what time it is? I only have one watch and I know what time it is. How can that be, Bob?
Oh, Bobby, you know who called me? Chip Smith.
Who?
Chip Smith.
Oh, Chip?
Yeah, I talked to Chip yesterday.
Did you?
What's he
Yeah.
doing?
He's doing good. He asked me to
Going to Brodex.
He's building a giant.
Pion is not one to confess without a lot of pressure. We had to pressure him into this confession. How many hours did it take to carve this calendar?
I don't know. We were working on it, I think,
30.
for 3 weekends.
You could have built a whole nother Cavalier.
Yes.
You gotta remember, we only work on Sundays on this one, so
I need the...
as you can see, we haven't gotten very far in 2 years.
You know they don't let you fly classic with a 4-stroke though, because they didn't invent 4-strokes till
Are you
back
kidding
then.
me?
No, can't have a 4-stroke for classic. You're gonna have to fly open stun against the big
Well,
boys.
In that case, Winnie, we made 2 cows. We
Look at
also
this
have one for a Fox 35.
I'm just kidding, you dummy. How dumb is he? Is he really this dumb or is he dumber?
That's for a Fox 35 in case the 4-stroke didn't work out.
Oh,
What the heck do I know?
the man is he just loses confidence, doesn't he?
I mean, Henry, everybody's it ain't gonna fly with a 4-stroke. It's not powerful enough. I said.
Forget it, he'll be fine.
let you use that engine?
No, I'm just making up to make him crazy.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
See, Bobby made me one of those. Pat made me one of those.
Okay, yeah. No, I flew in the top 5 with a 91. What are you gonna do? Tell him Wendy did it. They don't know the difference. That's pretty good. But I don't know if it's in keeping with the spirit of this. Now, the Tom Morris, isn't that supposed to be like a Spirit of 52 award or something for these things? I don't know, Bobby. You've missed it. A man with 2 cowlings can't have too much confidence in his workmanship. Holy, that is a cool cowling, though.
Yeah, there you go. There's 2.
That is. That says a lot about your technology.
I mean, this is ready for color. I just got to stand there.
You gonna make it green like the other plane?
I was going to do this one red, white, and blue, I think.
Yeah, this looks nice. I did a nice job on it.
I tell you, there's a lot of work to do.
You don't have to tell. That's why I make molded cowlings.
Not only that,
Jimmy, if
no wood. Every time we sanded, we went through. We got a hole.
I mean, Jimmy, how cool is this? All he would have had to do, or Tom Morris, Mr. Tom Morris could have made this, sent it to Wendy, and we could have these by the dozen, one every 20 minutes.
No, that's custom.
But no, he's got to be Mr. Lampia. He carves two. That is unbelievable. You are not only the man with the money, but the man with the energy and the watch collection. Holy mackerel. What a world we live in.
All the pieces are done, you know.
And we had a great trip out to Jim Borelli's yesterday. That really was a fun day. And it looks like we got a flyable day today. We have a couple of club activities going on, and I'm hoping we can get up to Palisade Park for a couple of flights before the wind gets really terrible. It's predicted to be really windy, but all the dogwood trees are blooming, all the flowering trees, and spring is in the air, and the smell of Power Master fuel. That squirrel go by. Power Master fuel is in the air. So we're going to get some flying today, but the wind is blowing 50 miles an hour. But the boat guys are here. We haven't seen them in a while. They share our field with us. We fly down the other end. Some cool stuff here. I don't know if the wind bothers them as much as us. Big tune pipe coming out the back. Nice paintwork. Paintwork that would look good even on a stencil. Such a big world of interesting things. I just never stop finding new things. I wish I had time to have boats and cars and a bigger model railroad, more planes, whatever. Good exhaust pipes here, cool. What's that?
40, 50, 60% might go.
Oh.
He's a young funny kid with 5 nice things that he didn't take Popeye. He thought real quick, because he got Wait, look that bad? Yeah! I think this one.
Water cooled, with a water cooling jacket around the head.
Wait, that went
We got out of there just in time, I think. Pulled the plug just in time.
That was running regular gasoline.
Yeah.
That is fierce at the night, at the 2 cycles. Yeah, a little slower. I got a mad plus 90cc, 5, 6.
Are they dedicated engines just made for boats, or do you use like an airplane engine?
Modified. Oh, they're a little modified, yeah.
Like the giant RC guys use them.
I guess the ones that are running nitro, they run higher RPM, right? Oh yeah, they scream. Yeah, 22,000.
Oh wow.
Now where's the, oh there it is, it just sits there, right there.
Yeah, and then they put the starter on it, get it running.
But once it's running, it just
just leave it there, yeah.
Pull it back and drag it like this. Yeah, get it out of the way. Yeah, take it. It's nice. I like this too.
I like this. This is really nice. Little exhaust intake.
I used to bring my son down here when he was little. You guys had a big apartment.
And of course we fly right down the other end of the field, but forget today.
There's too much wind. And we're cowards. Not only are we old, we're cowardly too. Yeah, look, the benefits of having a boat is you got to dig a hole.
All we need now is Cool Hand Luke here.
I don't see any chains and handcuffs on these guys. I don't know. They got a rowboat down here and everything. I don't know about this hobby. I thought this was a lot more fun. I can do this over at my son's house anytime I want. They're building a dock. Well, we couldn't wait any long for the boat guys were building a dock. It looked like they're still building a dock here. So it looks like it's actually better. We went from our field to the circle burner field. I needed to pick up some parts. Tom Hampshire has some parts for the B-25 he machined for me, so I see he's here. Hope he's got my parts. But it's windy here too. It's no bargain. I'm not sure how much fly. Oh yeah. Great day. When the wind blows at our other field, then Augie's not even flying. When it blows at the Powell Park site, you still can fly. When it blows real hard here, it's really unpredictable. It just shifts around. Anyway, they got a pretty good turnout. This is our club's annual Learn to Fly Day. In combat today? Is this Learn to Fly Combat Day or what?
I think he bought this from Larry and he's trying to make it fly. He's got a big problem.
Oh, you didn't pay him yet, did you? Oh! Never pay Larry first. Always fly the plane first.
Larry the horse trader.
Larry, oh my God.
It's like buying a...
I guess somebody didn't learn how to fly here on this one.
That's the way we found it.
Is this the new high rudder offset Augie Buffalato?
Gas it up and see what happens.
I didn't lose a single fish all winter. Really? I got every one. And I got one in my tank now called Whips. He's a orange and white fish, Whips fish. So I took him out of the pond and put him in the fish tank. Oh, they got the auto gyro here. Okay. Auto gyro. Oh, looks like we're going to have some action here. They got some more people starting to show up pretty regularly. It's Olympic.
Windy.
Now, you know, I just finished an Olympic.
Really? Well,
I finished it.
That's not good for me.
No, I finished one, except it's this big. It's on my model railroad.
I heard about that, Mike.
Now, remember, when you fly this plane, you got to wear white pants, white shoes, a white belt.
White shoes is all I got.
You got to play the game if you want to be an Olympic owner. It looks nice. What do you got, Tiger 46 in there?
Yes.
Very nice. Looks good. Yeah, if you're going to be an Olympic kind of guy, you got to go for the whole Olympic package. The pants, the suit,
There's no way I'm ever wearing white...
a cigar a foot long.
White pants. I don't wear white pants to work.
When they pay him, he doesn't wear white pants. That looks very nice.
That's the same moment?
Now my Olympic has wheel pants. What a job carving those little wheel pants.
I started it. And why do that for this field?
Yeah, you got it. You got a lot of good logic there. On my railroad, I have a Miss Jamie. Here's one of the next ones to come. We're going to do Brian's German Cardinal kit. They'll be next. One of the next ones. Another plane we already have on the model railroad. And I'll tell you that to make it authentic, we're going to take a fan and blow air on the model railroad today, so it's a windy day. Pathfinder. And Tom Hampshire's profile JD Falcon. People are still coming in here. Let's see how this works. He's got a unique looking tank on this. And a clamp mount system, and of course, a Brodak 40.
I waited so long.
Well, what's cool is we had Bob Hunt show up to be one of the helpers at our little stunt seminar clinic, Learn to Fly Day. Switch, we got Bob Hunt on a windy video. Came in on his motorcycle. Okay, now what? I'm not going to videotape too much of this, but what we're basically doing is One by one, the guys are taking flights. And we have 3 judges, 3 critiquers, or 2, I guess, now. Tom is going to be one of them. And then discuss the errors in the pattern, what they can do to make them better. Kind of a nice thing. This is Tom's little version of the Brodak. The JD Falcon, the Brodak 40, one of the motors Tom put a lot of time on. And by the way, I still have one for sale that was returned. There's still one left. If anybody out there is dying for one, give me a call. But these are hard to get items. Probably won't be another batch till at least midsummer. They're sold out ahead of time. Excellent little stunt motor. Now this is good. He's got the judges moving into the deepest of the mud on the field. As the judges sink into the mud. Anyway, this is one of the weekends I won't be able to stay long. I was hoping to get some of my yard work done this weekend because Elliot is coming for an 8-day visit. And we have a lot of things to do for the new railroad website. A lot of things we need to prepare with Sergio. We're in the middle of making some infrared controls for model railroading. A couple other things we'll be adding to the website very soon. Thank Bruce Hunt once again we have had so many people enjoy when they're at the shop and they're just hanging out. We snap on his VSC video, and boy, it's almost as good as being there. It really is. Love that interview with Larry Scarinzi. Larry should be here today. I don't know if Larry's seen that tape, but maybe we could get Larry to buy a copy from Bruce. If we show it to Larry, he'll never buy it. Anyway, it looks like they got a pretty good turnout. Got about 25 people here. I didn't expect it based on how the day looked this morning. It was really windy. Now, the only problem in our unique situation is having a house to work on, a yard to work on, and working on the kids' house. We need to do some landscaping over there this week, so we really don't have full dedicated days anymore. They're more like half days. Nice flying little plane. To see what kind of tank. Tom had a kind of a tricky looking chicken hopper tank on there, it looked like. The gust is coming in here now. The wind is moving. Looks like it's time for some entertainment with the auto gyro. I haven't seen this guy fly yet. I don't remember. He had one a different one at Brodak. This was not the one. Let's see how this works. Well, we could have made him a nice carbon fiber rotor blade for this. There it goes. Al Knight's Auto Gyro in action. Sure to be seen at Brodex in the near future. Al's added this to his fleet, and I mean fleet. He must have 50 airplanes of various denominations. Scale, stunt, a Cardinal, some profiles, his race planes. Him and his wife Mary do the club racing scene, clown racing. He's got some of everything. Multi-talented guy. And they basically do a lot for our club that you don't see. The legwork kind of stuff that goes on. Looks like he's got a 3-line belt crank here. Where is it? There it is. Plane we always enjoy seeing fly is Frankie's Big Cub. Okay, Bob Hunt is going to demonstrate, I don't know what this is, some plane. Bob Hunt demonstrating inverted flight at our stunt clinic, stunt forum, stunt whatever we are here. We call it Learn to Fly Day, but I'm not sure that's the right attitude for it. This would have been a wonderful day if we could dedicate the whole day to being here, but it's yard work time, and my wife has no sense of humor about me being at the field all day. I guess like many other people, she has a good sense of humor till about 1 o'clock, and then it's time for lunch. Have a cup of coffee and go clean the yard up, baby. I'm not sure if this is Al Knight's plane or not. I guess it's Al Knight's plane. Anyway, we never on the video had taken pictures of, this is Bob Hunt's motorcycle here. It's a Suzuki Hayabusa. Very, very fast bike. And we'll thank Bob for participating in our little stunt clinic forum. You can never say you don't see it all on Windy Videos. It's all on Windy Videos. Okay, you got that from Brodex? Is that or RMS or?
It might be a GRW.
GRW, RMS. I don't know what I'm talking about. But it runs good on the profile.
Well, it's on a piece of plastic.
Okay.
So the tank
You've got a little bit. You've got a little flexi. Oh yeah, that's
okay.
Good.
Now, this particular mount I made out of 1 sheet of plastic from a pop bottle. You need to glue 2 sheets together. That's the right amount of flex.
Okay.
But you want it so when the nose twists and shakes, the tank hangs.
It's
like
kind of
rubber. It's a vibration isolator.
It's like rubber. The rubber parts on a modern motorcycle. If you have a modern motorcycle,
rubber engine mounts in your car.
Yep. Everything's rubber mounted. Cool.
Yeah, same idea. But it does. You know what the truth is? Tommy Niebuhr had the truth 15 years ago. Don't build profiles. They stink. They're just awful, really. They take you a week less to build a profile than it was like Brian's ship, a box fuselage stunner.
Yeah, now Brian's is a Cardinal kit with just a box, really. It's the simplest box in the world. That's exactly what Tom's talking about. To figure the engine right out. Yep.
Any profile, you're headed for trouble. Sooner or later,
Even if you took,
vibration is going to move
right.
your fuel and you bought yourself with
No
trouble.
matter what kit you build, if you make a box fuselage, it's going to be better running
Yes.
than a profile almost every
It's going
time.
to live longer, it's going to have less oil soakage, it's going to stay in alignment in the wind better.
Mike, could just
Now,
see.
is the camera off?
No, I will. Show. We have secret
I'll just
commentary.
But we actually did have a great, you can't see it on the tape, I don't think, but we really did have a great time, even though the weather was kind of marginal there. And it was good seeing Bobby Hunt up at the club field, a lot of good nostalgic memories. Anyway, this is from Dave Midgley, and I thought this is worth putting on a video. This is great. Check. Can anybody figure out what this is? If there's anybody in the world that knows what this is, congratulations. He sends me the thing, and he says, anybody out there in video land, of course they can figure out what this is. You know, they get a free trip to his house to buy him pizza. Anyway. It's from Peter Michael, the wood butcher. Anyway, you know, Peter doesn't understand one of the basic laws of, and we love Peter, believe me, but Peter spends an incredible amount of time, and there's a point to be made here, making things like carving these pilot figures, when you can go to the Brodak's hobby shop and just buy a pilot for a couple of dollars. Anyway, so Peter, while he was up by Dave's, they had called me from the shop. This is Peter, of course, and we had a lot of fun with Pete in the past, but one thing, when Peter has a few beers, he's gone. He starts putting on hats and women's clothes and dancing and putting lampshades on his head and whatever. But so the caption Midgley wrote, I don't know if they're going to print this in Stunt News, is, would you buy a used Oriental from this man? I'm not sure I'd buy a hat from this man. Now Dave also went through his old photos for me, and this is going back to, I'm going to guess this is in the early 90s. Because this is in Dave's old backyard. This isn't even the new house. And that's probably been 10 years or so, maybe more. Anyway, what you'll notice, and if you look real close, of course, years ago we had a lot of video. This is Dave's version of the original Tradition. And Dave, we've lost this plane already. This plane is no longer, but this one is. And Dave is, last time he was here, he took it home, got it in his little red car. He's going to rebuild the body on it, and maybe do a little write-up for it in Stunt News, I don't know, but he managed to find these old pictures. And I thought there's a couple significant things if you look at these pictures. First off, look at that, my hair wasn't even gray. And this ball of fuzz that he used to think he was a hippie years ago. When we used to go to his house, he'd be making peace signs, and you know, it was embarrassing to be around him. But anyway, he matured, he went on to have a good life, and think of this. This is a house Dave doesn't even have anymore. The plane Dave doesn't have anymore. But we still have Tradition. And I'm not sure what that lesson is, but I'm writing this little piece for Stunt News about some of the things that even I quite don't understand about how we've all evolved into who we are and what we are, and Tradition has always been a part of it. Boy, and if you go back, here's the 87 Walker fly-off. I mean, in the wind. If you can imagine, the wind was unbelievable, the wind from that day. Anyway, I still have those videos of some of the flights. Ken Budensink was shooting video for us that year. That was the first year we shot the Nats video, and we still have some of that footage around, so just good memories. But I guess the point is, how could you, I wonder if Todd Lee still has this plane. Well, Paul Walker might still have that plane. I mean, Ted's probably got all his planes. Jimmy's not even in the event anymore. Frank went on to be Pampa president, but just think about it. That's pretty cool. Tradition is still around. He got third place that year. He won the Concourse Award. It was a pretty exciting flying in that hurricane out there. This is one of the reasons I always like to build planes, with the idea that they hopefully will last forever. They'll outlast the houses we live in and the shoes we wear, and I don't know what else. I'm not sure. I try to make them forever items. That doesn't always work. In fact, it works very infrequently. But when it does, and in the case of Tradition, when you've had a plane like this for 15 years, it really does become a part of your life and a good friend. And I guess that's the lesson
I'm not sure what the lesson is, but that's probably close to what it is. And if anybody out there has 15, I know Rich Jacobone has all his old planes, and they grow on you. It's kind of like keeping a piece of the past. Now, we got these extra copies of Flying Models in the mail today. Of course, this is the issue, and it's the June 2003 issue. You might want to pick it up if you're interested in reading about the Zetron infrared control for control line stunt. But like all Flying Models, and even when I was the columnist, Alan Brickhouse is the columnist now, of course. Great magazine. Excellent magazine. The thing I like, they still support control line events. A lot of other interesting things in here. There's just no end to the things that interest me, and I have a little bit of an interest growing in the electric stuff. There's a Mustang. But then the problem is everything interests me, so that's the whole problem with my life. Another thing I like. Anyway, when you go down to where the control line stunt column is, and I think we're right after Alan's column. There's Alan's column, a lot of good information. Tommy Niebuhr with getting a little plug for his kit, and we've shown this picture already. Tommy's down in Texas. And of course, the Zetron article. Now, in the years that we've developed this, the thing that's significant is when we started with this, it was almost hilarious. If you go back to those old videos of us, and we still have them. Anybody needs a good belly laugh with Mike and I chasing each other around a circle with that RC transmitter looking thing. And it's evolved into what amounts to be a turnkey, completely assembled unit, ready to put in a plane. Now, Frank Finelli shot these pictures, and they're really nice. And one of the things Les and I have discussed is I think Les is going to be buying a digital camera soon, so we can upgrade our ability to have nice pictures for these articles and stuff. Frank Finelli shot these. And by the way, if you don't subscribe to Flying Models, it's still a great magazine. And it's got all the technical information, all the upgrades, all the little things that if you were going to do one of these guys would be appropriate, would be something interesting for you to know. Some of the old handheld transmitters we made. And we still have, for anybody that really hasn't seen them, these original, I made originally a couple of videos that show, you can see the box, I had it on my hip and in my arm. But what it does, it shows you how real development happens. The real bottom line here is how this evolved over the years. It's very interesting. Over the years it developed into something that I think, in my case, in the B-25's case, it makes a project like that, it gives you a lot more choices of either throttling the engines, shutting the engines off together, retracts like Zambelli has, landing lights. In this case, there's just a myriad of things that we could be doing with the ability to do it without having an extra third line. Anyway, an article worth reading, I think. Worth having a copy of all magazines. All the information, and there's a point a lot of people miss, all the information that we can ever gather from whatever sources is worthwhile. It's when you don't have the information that you lose. Now, we're just excited as can be about another thing, is we've kind of finished our model railroad with the model plane flying field and everything. We heard from the editor of this is one of the biggest train magazines, Classic Toy Trains. And May 19th at 9 o'clock in the morning, we're due to the editor of the magazine, Roger Karp, and his professional photographer are supposed to come and do our layout, and with the thought in mind of having it featured in Classic Toy Trains, and they do a pretty good job of reviewing things. And what I found out that to me is the most amazing thing of all, with everything I've done with the model railroad, it's how many of the skills from model aviation just go right into, if you're good at building model planes, the odds are good you'll have a terrific railroad and nothing flat. Now we've spent maybe about 6 months on that. Our videos, our website, kwrailroad.com, is going to be online soon. In fact, it's one of the things Elliot's going to be working on.
And every day, if it rains, if it's a crappy day, we just go up and run the trains. In fact, Mike Costello is supposed to come over one day this week, and we're going to run his trains on my layout, because his layout, not finished. Not finished, he didn't start it yet. He's a little behind the 8 ball. But he can always bring his trains over here, and we can share that just like flying each other's planes when somebody doesn't have a plane.
A little storm overnight, and Elliot Scott is here from England, and we've got him doing our pond maintenance. How do you like being a butler for an American family? Pond maintenance. His name is Pond Maintenance Elliot Scott. Oh God, I was hoping we'd have some good weather for flying, but it doesn't look promising. Anyway, we may go up to the club field this afternoon just to see who's up there, but we had rain, we had a storm. Oh, you all this junk laying down here. It's terrible. It's got, now that he's got the pond nice and clean. How do you like working for Americans?
Yeah,
oh my gosh, they're cheap, aren't they?
And how much are you paying me again?
Nothing. Here's the deal. Elliot made this plug. Now, we already have several wheel pant molds, various sizes and shapes. This is his, we're going to add another set of molds to the list. But as we always do, we're going to put some of it on tape. He's going to build a box around here, and we're going to pour the molding rubber, and then tomorrow when we get done with this, we'll have yet another one, and we can make up some test parts.
And these are for wing mounted, that was the idea.
Yeah, these don't have the flat spot that our other molds have. So this with the wire can go either through the middle or like on the side this way, either way. So the first step is make the little boxes out of balsa wood.
Yep. Okay.
Step one, get that out of the way.
Right.
While you're doing that, Mike Costello is here. Mike Costello's going to basically take this wing home with him, give me his wing so I can work and put the dihedral and the bell crank and wing tips on his wing. And so we'll have the two, hopefully in a week or so, have the two bomber wings finished. And then we're going to start on, Les has the plans for the fuselage. We'll start making a mold for the fuselage. And that's coming in the next guy up, as soon as Les gets done with the drawings. Costello has never, this is the first time he's bringing his trains over here to run on our layout. I don't know what he's got going on here. Notice the ballerina, Mike?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mike's little, which is a pretty good copy of his ballerina.
Yeah, you put the swooshes on the tail like mine.
Wow. You were supposed to make, you notice the little speed models up in the front here?
Oh, wow.
Little speed pro, the little combat job?
Flight boxes are slightly large.
Well, these guys need a lot. George Aldrich over here in his younger days, number 2.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Joe Adamusco's Spitfire in the back. Mike Kajeski's plane. The Olympic's nice, too. The Olympic, the Chief. Augie in the back of the, I don't know what you call it.
You got a flight streak
there? And I got Joe Carabello's boatyard almost finished. We made a mold for these little boats. Making sailboats and boats and boatyards and...
The scenery's great.
But the B-25, I mean, we got to have a flying field on your layout. Soon to be layout. Just like in the world of planes, when you fly each other's planes, in the world of trains, you run trains. How cool is this? Oh, that's nice. And that's a 2.0, right? Did you ever have that running yet? Oh, okay, not with DCS. What we're going to do, we have to take one at my engine off, program it into the computer, and then we can run Mike's engine. And then we can run them both. So here Mike's got his engine here. He's programmed it in. I love the whistle on that one. That's beautiful. You give it about an hour of running, and it needs that hour to break in, I think. They don't tell you that, but I think that's the case. The smoke is nice. You got a good smoke unit in there.
toys. Toys for boys. I don't know, I gotta tell you, compliments model aviation so well. It just doesn't get a lot better than this. If it does, I haven't been there yet. We'll go see how Elliot is doing on his mold. We got him building a mold, but we're up here having fun. Eating pizza, drinking coffee, and running the trains. And while Elliot is downstairs, we've allocated him to secondary status in our building. Back, the wheel pant mold is done. Mr. Scott, oh, you mean my email's not done?
Looking at these.
How are we gonna go flying if my email's not done?
This Russian agency for the girls.
Oh, you want a Russian wife now?
Russian wife is
We should
busy.
forward that to your wife. Why don't they sell Russian men? I don't know. They sell Russian women, but not men. Anyway, we're ready to pour the mold.
For Russian men.
Would it help to send your wife for Russian language lessons?
No.
Probably not.
This is the fun part, watching Dr. Evil mix up molding rubber.
Hey, there's no Diet Coke in it.
He doesn't know Coke. Come on.
Diet Coke.
All right, it's 10-to-1 ratio. So first thing, weigh the cup and write it down, because we're all going to forget. We're all 60 years old.
Heavy to me.
Oh, God. Back to England.
Hey, pay peanuts, get monkeys.
Oh, God.
I don't even get the peanuts.
This is not good when your helper can't get the lid off the molding rubber. We're in a low-tech approach. Funny, he can get the lid off a box of donuts. Boy, the lid comes right off the box of donuts without a problem.
No trouble.
Holy kanzuli. All right. Now you got to figure out. No, geez, you're going to kill. You want to make this a comedy video? Get a spoon. This is unbelievable. I'm going to show your wife this video.
Okay. Where do I get a spoon from?
All right, so the first thing is weigh the cup. Then fill it about 3/4 with molding rubber without making a mess, without turning our house into a, well, I won't even say it on video. Now, I could not even make this up if I didn't see this in real life. You're going to fill a cup. Oh my God! First, put the cup over the thing, so when you drip and drool, which you will.
Hey, don't you trust me here?
No.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Now, you know what's funny, Tom? You start pouring molding rubber, and what happens? You can't stop. There's no way to shut it off. There's no off switch. So this way we call it for the beginner filling the cup mode here. Just fill it up spoon after spoon till you get about 3/4 in there.
Is there?
No, well,
So viscous.
well, I can do it, but it took me about 30 gallons of rubber to get to the point where I could pour it.
Pour it out of the bucket.
No, Elliot just spilled the kicker on the scale. What we did is you take
Sit it back on again, Elliot, and let's make
take
sure
the total weight.
really have
I think you can figure this out. Take the weight of the cup from the total mix. That we know how much rubber is in it, and set the scale at 10% higher, and then just add the kicker, the blue stuff, until we know it's 10%. We want 10-to-1. That's the ratio that
Now,
you
we're
want.
going to whip this up so we've got lots of air in here.
Whip it up, put an electric drill in it. Let's get as many air bubbles so we'll keep you busy sanding. We could all be up running trains later. The whole trick is to mix it slow. What happens if you put an electric drill in there, you start beating it like scrambled eggs?
Make a
You make
milkshake?
so many, yeah. If you do just what he's doing, it takes 4 or 5 minutes.
All right.
And just let it fold it in like an essence of emerald kind of thing. It'll eventually all be light blue. When you see there's no more streaks, look at your watch and mix it 2 minutes more. And then you know you got a good mix on a molding rubber. And this is Mold Max 30. You can get it from Smooth On. We've put this up on the video so many times, but this is about the best. It doesn't need a release agent. Making a little part like these. Now, actually, Mike, when we get these, do you want a set of these shells? I'll make the shells for you.
What, these wheels?
Yeah, no, just the shells.
Oh.
And you go to assemble them and sand them and prime them and...
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, see, now the thing is, like Tom, this would fit Tom's plane. It would fit anything. You put it on profile. But once you have the little mold, making them is a piece of cake. You can make a set every day if you want. Just like making a carbon fiber landing gear. You can always tell when Chicky likes somebody, he goes right for the ears. It's a sex thing, Mike.
Oh, it's got me.
I'm telling you. And you don't even have to pay him. He works for peanuts. Chicky, he's got fleas in his ears. He's got all kind of cool things. Chew up a pretzel. Let him take a pretzel out of your mouth.
Yeah, pretzels.
Oh, you put it in your mouth and he takes it out.
You're doing that.
You sissy. You're afraid of a bird. What a sissy.
He's afraid of the bird's social.
Put a pretzel in your mouth and chew it up. Chew it.
Yeah, now what do I do?
No, face him. Just
Now,
go. Look.
Hold the crumb out.
Face it. Stick it out on your tongue.
Crumb out on the tip of your...
Come on, be a man. You sissy. What a wimp.
Go for any of that monkey business.
Come on, Chicky. Show Mike what a tough guy you are. My friend Bruce Hunt has a bird too. I wonder if he does this with his bird.
Do you think about...
Only on windy videos.
Do you really think about what you're...
Come on, Chicky.
Get on the plane to come here.
No, I just...
Chicky, are you hungry? We got to do something while he's...
No, it isn't.
No. Hard to believe, huh?
It doesn't get better.
There's no...
Hard to believe.
floor.
This morning on
As
the...
soon as this, I wake up, he's out in the backyard cleaning the little poops out of the fish pot, the yard, and I leave.
I wouldn't mind.
Then we're up running the trains, and he's mixing molding rubber here.
Criticizing you. Hey, you're not cleaning that pond properly.
And then we harass him about it. Oh God! Come to Wendy's for fun and profit. That's all there is to it. All right, you got the molding. When are we gonna finish molding these? You sure you're not making pancakes or something over there?
After this motivational speech that I get from him first thing in the morning, he hands me a drawing and says, "Take that back to England and turn it into a quality drawing for me, will you?"
Nice and slow. Go over the part first. Go through all the corners. Just get like a skin on, and let the air bubbles come to the top. Yeah, I don't know. This way seems to work okay.
Bunch of
Get it in. Yeah, you could stake it. Get it in all the corners, and then you can do this. You can kind of move it around, because you want to get all those little air bubbles. See how terrible he mixed it?
Yeah. Thank you.
It's embarrassing. Make all these air bubbles. Should be no air bubbles.
Look, I'm just going to go back to cleaning ponds. Is that okay?
His new name. We're going to get him a shirt that says
Pond boy.
Pond boy. Pond boy. Pond person. You're a hero, Elliot.
Fish
Trust
love
me.
me. Hey.
Chicky loves you. We won't take food out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Ratio is
The second layer in, and we're just waiting for the bubbles to come to the top. And tomorrow this will be hopefully a good mold.
Yeah.
You can shake it. You can put take the blade out of your saber saw and go like that. That'll help.
You ought to build a scale railroad track with low joints, and then you can sit.
We'll use Mike's railroad. The track work will probably be plenty bumpy when he's...
thing on a flat car and send it for a 6-hour round trip.
Mike's thinking of building a railroad using balsa wood, I think. I'm not sure.
Elliot can build us a scale track with box joints, not stagger joints, British style. That'll really shit.
Yeah, when I was on that British train, boy, that was... Hey, Chicky. Get him to take something out of your mouth, Elliot.
Wait, have you ever ridden...
Be a real man. Look, there's one real man in this whole cellar.
Box joints?
It was nice by the house, but it's cold here. Man, everybody's in coats. Rich has his... This is the one that was leaking and you put a new case on? He's got a new motor in here, relatively new. Gonna try to get some flights on here. What do you got in Strega today? A Tiger 60? We don't know what's in what. All I know is it's cold, baby.
Tiger 60. You sold it to me, so let's hope it runs.
Yeah. For the money you paid for it, I think you got a full warranty and it just ran out. Like our mold, the wheel pant mold is drying up nice, and Rich is going up to a contest in Connecticut that we can't go to. We have a wedding in a family today. He's headed up there for I don't know, it's Bob Goss's new contest. It's the first time they're having it. Oh, it's cold out here. Just sitting. Whew. You can hear it in the motors. Very, very short flight. You put fuel in it? Hey! Fuel in it. Now the reason Rich is flying his older plane is because this contest they're going to is on grass and he doesn't want to risk the Stuka, his Rodak Nats plane. Anyway, the mold looks like it's drying up well. We should be getting wheel pants out of there soon. Mike Costello left with some good plans for his train layout, which is coming up soon, hopefully. We have another Strager here. It's like the day of Stragers. They just don't go away. One of the things we're trying to sort out with Brian, what's happened, and of course he's been flying Strager, testing Mirkos and Tigers and Jets and Satos and stuff in it. But he's got a Super Tiger 60 in it. It needs a little bit of nose weight with that setup because he doesn't have the cowling on. It really needs a heavier muffler, would be a better choice. But because we don't have that muffler right at the field, he's taken another handle where the cable spacing is just a little bit closer together as a way of tuning some of the corner out now. The way we know it needs to be a little smaller is every time there's a turn that's wrong, it's either right, but if it's wrong, it's always an overturn. And when there's a lot of overturns up both ways, making a handle smaller is worth a try. We're basically using up a day that Elliot's here and Brian. Rich already left for the contest. But the point is, this is information that everybody can use no matter what plane you're flying. You look at a pattern, that's not a good example. So you really should give yourself a time or two to get used to a handle. Now he's gone from having a really big handle that I had set up for the team trials on his plane years ago to much smaller. And you want to look for the errors. Now, you really don't show up in round loops that much. You want to look for the errors in triangles and squares. And always looking, are you overturning? If you have a video camera, of course, that makes it easy. You can go home and do it. But getting the handle size relative to the CG right, that can be tricky. It can be time consuming. Of course, one of the choices you have is to try everything. But I think a better way is look at what the errors are. Now, we're just going to try to count how many errors are overturns, how many are underturns. And we go home, Brian can come to the shop, look at the video, and kind of make a decision on his own. Now, this is the first flight, so it's not really a fair test. Now, this is much more in control than we're up to. That's a little... I think he's not used to having it this small. And it takes a while to adjust. Really not fair to do this on the first flight. Although this is 100 times better than what it was before. Before, he was just going off on angles that were, it was really hard to control. Now, the thing with this is you want to give yourself 3, 4, 5 flights to make a decision. Much better. But he's not going to... What happens with guys that are relatively new to this, what happens is they do this and they say, oh, I'm not happy, I'm not comfortable. you have to give yourself a couple of flights to adjust. You can't do it in one flight, two. Nobody can do it. Maybe Paul Walker can do it, but I can't. It takes me a few flights to kind of get the whole feel of a new handle. And the best way of all is if you have two handles, and they're the same, is shorten one and then fly back-to-back flights. Small handle, big handle. Make an adjustment to one of them, but always keep the one that feels the best of the two set the way you're happy. This is a lot better. Before it was really erratic. And if the plane is so erratic, if you have it set with the CG too far back and it's just jumping up on angles, you never can get that nice flow into a corner. You never get that, like I call it a hydraulic corner, where you can ease it in and stop it, ease it in and stop it. It just gets too herky-jerky. Now I know, because I know Brian for a long time, he's going to say, oh, I like the big handle better. Well, but I'll bet you if he sticks with this for 4 or 5, or actually the rest of the day, because it's a freezing cold day. It's probably about 40 degrees. Unexpectedly cold here. But to use it on a day like today is really good. Just use up a day like this. Another thing you can do is this. On some maneuvers, zero in on just let the camera be on your body. Anyway, when Brian finishes up the flight, we'll get a look at it. We can review it here right at the field, but better, we'll go back to the house, put the tape on the screen, and you can see if all your angles are too far up. But if it was the other way around, make the handle bigger. There's an over control right there. And that's good information. You can use that on any plane at all. A lunch break from our flying session, and come down and watch the boat guys. It sounds like they're having some fun down here. Very nicely painted, nicely detailed. Water cooled. There's a big one over here. We've seen this one before. Instigator.
Lá pra trás tem o que é dela? Outro lugar pra pegar você hoje?
So you can use inclines too, and that's how. Nice lettering job.
Aquele lugar lá tem estacionamento grande pra dar aquela empresa lá, da companhia lá. Pô de burro aqui. Vai?
Michael, give me that radio right there. Give me that electronic radio.
The radio will show the man special.
Turn it right way? Okay. Michael, stick this in the end of that radio. When you're ready. Go ahead, anytime you want.
ele quer botar gasolina.
This one's all wood. What a beauty. Holy mackerel, workmanship in this.
Ligava, ele
His workmanship on this, what a beauty.
ia pra botar na pista, cara, toda hora. Ele com uma hora ele conseguia, às vezes ele subiu um pouquinho e morreu.
Good way to spend your lunch break. Now we're going to go back from here, back to the field after we have a bite to eat.
Cara doido, né, bicho?
Gotta get another afternoon of flying. For anybody who might not know, that is a real tune pipe. That's the real McCoy right there. Not a stunt pipe.
Hit me first.
Whoa.
You guys gotta stop putting transmissions in these.
Look at these props, Elliot. Look at the drivers here with the little life vests, little helmets. Pretty creative. Who said it's not the fishing season? Elliot, jump in there and get it for him.
Thank you.
Show him how tough Englishmen are. That's a pretty cool idea. I never thought of that.
Tennis ball and a bit of...
Pretty cool idea. Lettering would just look perfect on a Brodat Cardinal. I wouldn't want to get my nose caught in that prop, I'll tell you that.
It's not where I'll be putting my hand on.
No.
What do you normally set these at?
3.5. 4.
Não, passar correndo, pegar. Não, essa coxinha tá Vamos da frente, lá na rua. Ele é mal, ele quer que eu faça.
Assim, ó.
Olha a olha dele. That's what the drag thing.
É igualzinho do carrinho. É uma forma agora dele. Os vários jeitos. Good run. Good run, John.
Nice. Isn't that cool? Very cool.
Yeah.
Usually when the camera's running, everything goes wrong. Very good. Just dive in, no problem.
There you go, Michael.
Come on, Elliot, jump in there and go get the boat.
Just fantastic.
That's cool. Now that's a tune pipe.
Get the ball, John.
Flying field. We'll get another 10 flights before the day ends. we're back home, and actually, Karen and I had to go to a family wedding. And while we were out, Elliot made up this real nice little test part. And what he did, using a rubber mold, and he put a piece of saran wrap in between with some 4-ounce cloth. Had this all laid up before I got back. I'm back now, and one of the things I want to do, he shot some great footage today. I have another copy of it, of course. And what I want to do is I want to go over the little things that'll help in coaching me. And you know, we've done that a million times looking at these now. We usually do it from a tripod, but by looking at them over and over again, we can see a lot of things. Lap times, of course. We can see, you know, various other things that we might want to change or modify or make more consistent. Anyway, what we're real excited about, I guess tomorrow morning we can pull apart our first little set of wheel pants out of here, join them, and get an idea what the weight is going to be, what the, well, just what the quality of work is going to be. So we'll see that tomorrow morning when we wake up. A good day. We were able to help Brian quite a bit. The smaller handle is working great for him. We have the first shells that have come out of the mold, and with Elliot's compression technique, he's going to make a couple test parts. These have little blemishes here, but it's not a factor. And the other one, they're super light, by the way. They have a finish on both sides, which is nice. I'm not sure we need it, but it's free. We're using this molding technique where there's a male and a female, and they're being pressed under compression. So once we make a set with e-glass and we see how they look, we're going to make a set probably tomorrow with carbon. We only have one set of molds, and that's going to be, well, we hope, you know, he goes back to England, he'll have a carbon pair and an e-glass pair both at the same time. Now every year it seems like in the spring we have at least one little miracle happen around our house. One year we found Chicky, one year we found another baby bird that eventually died. But this year, if you look in his bird feeder, we have some little house finches, a pair, that are making a nest. Of course, this is in our kitchen. And we were having, Elliot and I and Karen were having breakfast here this morning, and we noticed they're putting, the mother and the father are bringing in little sticks and twigs. So I guess within the next couple of weeks, we're going to have some baby birds, unless they change their mind. Not sure if they'll go forward with it. I've kind of been, actually, we've been eating breakfast in the dark so that we could watch them make the nest, and it's been a lot of fun. This morning we have another pair of shells made from these compression molds that Elliot made. The wax paper, it's actually plastic wrap. I think it's working real well, and I'm going to try to join a pair of these, but the biggest thing is we want to have some scrap, and I'm going to continue this on the next video because you get a lot of people. This is a nice little project. Really anybody can make the little molds for this. Very inexpensive, and you can have custom shape, size wheel pants for your own plane. Ironically enough, I'm waiting for Les to get here, and of course he's hot to trot to build a Sky Raider, and it's on Speed Vision tonight, today, whenever. This will be repeated over and over again, so I'll tape it so I can get a copy for Les. Nice Sky Raider footage. Never get sick of watching these things. Basically, we're just using the cans for some weight. And while he's on his way back already, but I wanted to look at these. What's nice about this, it leaves a little bit of a coating on the mold, which even if the wax paper were to have a failure and the resin drip through, this is silicone resin. Mold Max doesn't require a release agent. Now what we found is you need to pull these up nice and slow. Now the next part of this is going to be to experiment with different materials with carbon. We have some carbon Kevlar and some Kevlar. Make a bunch of these, and I think we have 4, 5, not sure. No, we only have 4. We can make these thinner, thicker, and the trick with all parts is you want to make one this is really common technology, one that's too thin, and what we did with one layer of 4-ounce cloth feels a little on the skimpy side. The one we made with 6-ounce cloth is a little heavier but nice and rigid. So what we may want to do is take 6-ounce cloth, or the other choice we have is we can put a layer of, and it's always a better thing to do, so you get less imperfections in the skin when you do this, is put a layer of 1/2-ounce cloth. Just lay it in the mold first, then put the 4-ounce. And the way this has been working, this is his original plug, which we showed up on the video. After the material is in the mold, then this just compresses it, puts some weight on it, squeezes out almost all the extra resin. We're going to continue this because we're basically at the end of the video. What we want to get, and we got exciting things. Here's what's coming up in the next week. Les has some plans to show us. We're going to have Pete Klepsic come down with his B25, show off his B25, do some show and tell. We have, in the next week, a little more than a week, we're going to have Roger Karp from Classic Toy Trains here to hopefully put that in the magazine, our train layout. We've just been spinning our heads, and we got our other 826 wing. Mike has taken the one with the dihedral. I'm going to finish up the second one, and we should be moving along on that project too. Anyway, thanks a lot for joining us. We're on a countdown to Brodax. Brodax should be coming up soon. And anybody that would like to be on the list to get the Brodax videos, even the subscribers or non-subscribers that check out the videos, and I know there are many that don't subscribe but check it out from time to time, please get your name on a list so I know ahead of time how many copies I have to send out. We'll be trying to get them out to you as soon as possible, as soon as the Brodax meet is over. And if you missed the Brodax meet in the past, don't miss this one. It will be a good one. We hope we'll see you on the next video. We're expecting very soon to have Strega kits in stock. Very soon, so anybody that's still not on our waiting list, get your name and address in and we'll make sure you get one from the first production run. There'll be no delay getting it to you. And we'll also be checking in every other day or so just to see how our friends, the house finchers, are doing in our kitchen. See you on the next tape.